This video interview is an expansion on Bernard's video interview that he did called Parents and Siblings Are the Keepers of the Past. So this video interview is in reference to that video interview. I suggest, if you have not yet listened to the video interview of Bernard called Parents and Siblings Are the Keepers of the Past, to have a listen to that video interview before continuing listening here, because I'll be referring to that particular specific video interview within this interview. Okay, for those of you who have listened to it already, the basis of the interview is outlining how family members or friends accumulate memories of and as past mistakes as an arsenal to use against you within and as manipulation attacks in an attempt to keep you within the limited self-definition they experience you to be, to so keep personalities alive. So the whole manifested design of using memories to manipulate one with in an attempt to keep you within their world, within a particular existent personality, because, or so that the family member can thus again relate their own personalities to your personalities, and so keep you ensnared and enslaved into and as their definition of you in relation to how they've personified you within and as their own knowledge and information database of their mind consciousness system. So basically the play out manifestation of the whole point is to manipulate you to be how they want you to be, for purposes of the survival of their own personality of their mind consciousness system. So within this video interview, we're going to look at the whole entity possession that manifests within such an accepted and allowed point of attempted and tried manipulation, wherein a being then actually become possessed by their own memories. And this whole point is also due to the inversion of process, where the being think or believe that they're manipulating you through memories to keep you within a personality as they defined you to be within their own mind consciousness system, when in fact they actually within that very action become manipulated by their own memories within themselves, and so become possessed by their own memories, and so become completely stuck within and as an energetic entity of an as memory. So let's have a look at the specifics of how this manifests within and as beings that attempt and try to manipulate with and as using memories, and just for self to also understand what is in fact really happening, to assist and support self to realize that the whole point or event is not personal, but it's actually the being attempting to and trying to manipulate with memories, fight for their own survival of personality of mind consciousness system. Alright, let's have a look at the play out of how the manipulation entity of memory is created, designed, and manifested. So the family member or friend will target a specific part of self, like a part of self that fed a particular personality of that family or member or friend within the past. Then this part of self in relation to memories will be outlined, meaning this part of self is a part of self that the family member or friend reinterpreted or reperceived within themselves as how they've defined you as, and then that part is stored or categorized or organized within their personality database of mind consciousness system. So they've then interconnected that re-perceived, reinterpreted part of you towards you. So as long as you always remain the same in relation to how they've perceived or defined you, then their personality they've defined towards that part of you remain intact, and their world is safe and in order because their self-definition is being fed, being groomed, being validated. So that's why, in terms of, let's say for example, that part of you has changed, obviously then a friction manifests within them, in their mind consciousness system in relation to that personality they've defined in relation to that part of you. And so they will attempt to try to get you back to that reinterpreted, re-perceived definition that they've defined you as, so that they can keep their personality of their mind consciousness system to continue surviving and existing. So then they'll start with, for example, this part of self that they have reinterpreted or re-perceived within themselves as how they've defined you as. They'll start outlining, like using statements of, do you remember how you were then, or how we did this together, how you were while we did this together, how you did this or that for me, who you were then, how you did this and how you did that. So basically starting with a point of you within themselves, they'll manipulate you with as the point, as a part of self they've identified themselves with in relation to you. And even though that definition of you within them may be years ago, to them it still exists, because it exists within and as them as memory. Like that one part is manifested as memories within themselves that they have accumulated to revalidate that total personality part of themselves they have defined in accordance to that part of you. And due to them existing from the primary basis of and as memory, as the mind in itself, wherein memories within that are believed or perceived to be real, because the mind consciousness system is their reality. To beings existing within and of the mind in totality, the past is still existent, still real, because everything of them is from and of the past. So the past still exists as a reality that is real, and thus to them you're still the same, because their reference of you is in accordance to memories, is in accordance to how they reinterpreted or re-perceived you and thus defined you within themselves. And so that part of you is kept alive through memory, through past experiences within them, to continue their personality definition of and as mind that part or experience of you kept supporting within them. And as I explained a little bit earlier, when you start changing or acting within behavior in relation to them differently, your external manifestation of who you are is no more supporting or feeding or interconnecting resonantly within and as their memory database as personality definition they have of you, and this causes friction within and as their mind consciousness system. Because their memory database of a part of you feeding a personality of them is no more feeding or is no more being fed or supported. And this is when the fight for mind personality survival kicks in, and the manipulation fight with the arsenal of memory then ensues, because it's like an alarm goes off inside their mind consciousness system stating their personality is not being supported with the energy that was usually feeding it within this particular relationship they had with you as this part that they've defined you as. And that part you're no more enacting or living in thought, word, and deed, because you've changed.